Hey there, YouTube. This is SJM4306, and so I just recently got another check from my eBay affiliate program that I'd like to thank you guys all for supporting me on that, because that means I can buy stuff like this for free every month. So this was my buy for this month. I've been doing some reading, and I discovered this amazing MP3 player that was released, I think, around 2005, 2006. Let me just lock the focus because this is a very shiny item. This is the, let's see if we can get in on this. So this guy is the NW-E507, and this is a MP3 player that Sony released, as I said, a number of years ago. I think maybe about 2005, 2007. They released. There's a previous model to this, the 400 series. This is the 500 series with the built-in FM radio. And let's just fix the focus. And so yeah, this guy is a portable MP3 player. This guy came in capacities, I believe I've seen 256 meg, 512, and a gigabyte, and there was an NW-A600 series that came out after this that had up to 2 gigabytes of storage. Those are really hard to find and really expensive. So let me just remove this clip. And it comes with this little belt clip, and I think personally this is one of the most beautiful MP3 players I have ever seen. So it has a kind of multi-layer construction, a clear polycarbonate shell on the outside, and then an inner shell. This one is silvered. There are different colors available. There's black, I've seen purple, red, pink, green, blue. There's a whole range of different colors, and the inner shell color will actually color the OLED display. And the very cool thing about these units are when you turn it on, you can see right here, it sort of, you can see, like, due to the multi-layer construction, it looks like the display's floating. And because this is mirrored, it just looks absolutely amazing. I mean, yeah, you can see here, the menu system is navigatable fairly easily using this kind of twist knob, and I love this. It's so easy with the single hand to just flick through music. To change the volume are these two here, so I can easily increase or decrease the volume, and I can select pretty much anything that I want. I can go through and select all music. Then I can go through here and kind of select whatever. So yeah, this is a pretty cool MP3 player. You can see I've been listening to some Persona. Anyway, yeah. Unfortunately, this is only really 1 gigabyte maximum, so it sort of stinks that that's sort of a limitation of the fact that this is an older MP3 player, so that's pretty much all you're ever going to be getting. But if you are okay with listening to compressed music, you can use A-Track 3 Plus. And I gotta say, 64 kbps on A-Track 3 Plus is listenable. It essentially will make this player equivalently hold about 4 times the capacity. So it turns this 1 gigabyte player to about 4 gigabytes. Obviously, at the loss of sound quality, it's going to have quite a bit of substantial distortion and whatnot, but it's okay for something this small, I think, personally, just because of how beautiful it is and how it's a joy to use pretty much. So yeah, we can just shut this off here, and yeah, there are different modes you can actually have this in. So you can display the track information, and obviously you got your battery and all that, and whether it's playing, and you can just shuffle through, and I'll go through real quickly. Just stop this. So here's kind of the folder menu information. You can kind of see that, and it'll have how many tracks and what the encoding is. Next is sort of a weird compass mode where it'll show you like your track duration and what your current progress on the song is, as well as the volume level and whatnot. There's that, and then here's a time mode, and it has the date and then kind of a flashing indicator. And there's a bubble mode because why not? And here's another clock mode and fishies. And there's also a this is the version 2.0 of the firmware, so you can install different screens. They only ever released two as far as I know. One is this fish mode, and the other is like an asteroid sort of Windows screensaver looking mode. So yeah, that's that. And overall, it's pretty easy to use in terms of this knob. If you push it in, it goes into hold mode like this, and whenever you click a button, it just flashes quickly to tell you it's on hold. You pull it out one, and it goes into like regular song playing mode. You pull it out again, and it goes into group mode, where you can actually flick through. If you had, all your songs selected, you could flick through groups really easily. To search, just press and hold. Just press this button up here, and you can sort by artist, album, and then your group, basically playlist. If you press and hold menu while it's stopped, it'll give you the extended menu where you can change repeat mode, whether you want it to repeat once or multiple times. Sound, and this guy will allow you to kind of have your equalizer settings, of which you can change independently your bass and your treble. Pretty much, if you press the search menu button, it'll always take you back in the menu. Finally, we have our volume mode, so I can set like presets, so high, medium, low, or manual, where you get 1 to like 30. AVLS, in case you're into that sort of thing, limiting volume for like hearing safety. You can set beep, which pretty much all Sony devices will do this, where you can turn it on or off, where every time you click a button, it'll make like a little beep noise. There's power save mode, and I set this to on, and I set it to normal, so it'll display like a quick flash every couple seconds, just to let you know it's on and playing music. If you set it to super, it'll shut off the screen after a certain timeout and keep it off. That'll give you the most battery life. Normal sufficient, because I like to see if I accidentally left it on and playing. You can actually leave this on with headphones not inserted, and so you wouldn't know if it was playing or not. And then save off will always keep the screen on, but that'll limit your battery life quite a bit. Our display screen was this display button that I showed you going through all the different display modes. You can turn them on and off within that menu independently, so that you have less to scroll through, essentially. I just left them all on. And date and time. So, oh yeah, another thing I forgot to mention, the play stop button acts as like an enter. So it'll take you further into the menu, and then search menu will take you back. And so this is the clock. And advanced menu only comes up when the player is in stop mode, and you enter the menu by pressing and holding the menu button. And you can format the internal memory, which will erase everything. I don't want to do that right now. USB bus powered. You can set it to charge at a high rate or a low rate. And this guy is rated for 50 hours. 50 hours of playback continuous. That is ridiculous. And the best part is, if you plug it in and it's on high power mode, it'll charge for every 3 minutes it charges. You'll get about 3 hours of playback. So if you're in a hurry, you just plug this in for a minute or two, and it'll give you, an hour or two of playback, which is really awesome. Actually, I oftentimes forget to charge my MP3 players, and when I go to take them out the door, I realize, oh geez, I have to leave in a minute, and my MP3 player is dead. Oh crap. So yeah, this will give you the option of charging very fast, or if you just want to trickle charge it, it allows you to do that in case you're charging off of a computer that has limited power. So other than that, we have information, and this gives you the model number, the capacity, and I believe this is the serial number, and number 4 is the firmware. I'm on version 2.0. And you can do firmware updates off of Sony's site. They have the necessary file. So we can exit out of that, and then just exit out of here. So obviously when I click this, it cycles through all the different display modes. Oh, it's 3 a.m. I must be lonely. Anyway, so if you press and hold this on the 500 series model, you actually have an FM radio built in. And I can just scan through this like so, and go through everything. So yeah, I probably won't be using this. You only get about 20-25 hours battery life on FM, and no one listens to FM anymore, so I'll just stick to my internal music on here. So yeah, Other than that, this is a beautiful player, and I love the screen color is coming up kind of blue, but it looks almost whitish green in real life. And I've seen pictures of the other color players, like blue, green, and red, look really nice. The way that the color of the internal shell actually colors your OLED display. I'm going to try to get some color gel filters for photography, and I've already opened this before, and I'll be doing a teardown in a bit to show you guys what's inside of this. But yeah, my idea is once I get color gel filters, I can cut out a little rectangle and stick it underneath the mirrored layer, and that should be able to allow me to change the color of the OLED display, which would look really cool. But yeah, as you can see, the color here is pretty cool. So yeah, other than that, we have a repeat and a sound button here. So what this will do is it'll take me through like shuffle and repeat modes, as well as if I press and hold, I can quickly change that the equalizer settings. Other than that, we have a little rubber door here for a mini USB, which is really nice to see over some proprietary connector. And other than that, we have our headphone jack on the side here, and that's pretty much everything on this player. And now we get to the software. You need to use Sonic Stage. You can't just drag and drop music. You can use this as a thumb drive, but if you drop MP3s onto it that way, it won't recognize them as a player. So you have to use Sonic Stage to play music, which is really disappointing, unfortunately. So yeah, what are you gonna do? So it's not the fastest player to load music up, unfortunately. This guy seems to be USB 1.1. To load a gigabyte took me maybe 15-20 minutes, which is ridiculous in this day and age. But I'm not going to be loading music up that often on this guy. And in terms of sound quality, yes, I'm highly compressing my music, so there's a lot of artifacts from that. But given the compression ratio, how high it is, it actually sounds better than I expected. About, I would say, probably not quite as good as LP2 mode. Definitely not as good as LP2 mode on mini disc players. Probably about a 64 kbps A-Track 3 Plus is about equivalent, I would say, to LP4 mode on mini disc players. So that's kind of what your expectation would be if you want to store the most amount of songs. And I think I got about 600 songs on this 1 gigabyte, and I have a little bit left. I have like 100 megabytes left. But yeah, if you want a player that will hold a lot of music, this is not the way to go. If you want something that looks beautiful and is a joy to hold and play, this is a guy for you. It's actually pretty weighty. When I saw pictures of this online, I kind of got a feel for what the size was, and I thought, this is going to be kind of really light because of how small it is. But I have a feeling that there's might be like a metal mid-frame, or I don't know if this is metal, if it's painted metal, because it actually feels heavy for how small it is, which is really nice because it feels like, you bought something that, is worth its weight. So yeah, as I said, this is a beautiful player. Oh my god, I just can't get past how nice it looks. I really wish Sony released a modern version of this with like modern capacities. If you could imagine like a 16 or 32 gig version of this that could play FLACs, that would be pretty much perfect in my book. I would just load it up with a ton of songs, don't even bother with compressing it, and if it could run for like 40 or 50 hours off that, that would be perfect. I would pretty much just have this on a lanyard and always keep it around my neck, because that's how beautiful this is. I just want to use it, even though it's horribly outdated compared to modern MP3 players. I have, modern players that can store a lot more, but have worse battery life and aesthetically aren't as nice. But yeah, I just wanted, I kind of always wanted these. I've seen pictures of them online, and they refer to this form factor as like a perfume bottle. And I always wanted one, and I never could really justify. These were always kind of expensive. But yeah, recently I've been making some money on off my eBay affiliate program, so I thought I would spring for one of these. You know, it's something that I always wanted, so why not? You only live once, and I had some money saved up, so I thought, why not? So yeah, this is a absolutely stunning player. I love it. I hate Sonic Stage. I hate it with a passion, but I use it for mini discs, for burning mini discs anyway. So I kind of have gotten used to how horrible it is, and I kind of can deal with it. But other than that, this is a joy to use. Oh my goodness, I can't say how much I love this player. If I had this back in the day, I would have used this daily. I pretty much around that time period, I was using an iPod, a 5th gen iPod, and it's a good player. Sound quality, the sound quality on this, if I load this up with 320 kbps VBR MP3 or something similar, this sounds absolutely amazing. So yeah, given that time period, the iPod that I was using actually didn't sound as good if I had the same compression file on it. And the battery life on this absolutely blows the iPod out of the water. So I actually probably would have used this as my main player. So I actually probably would have used this as my main player if I had this back in the day. Just look at it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I kind of want to get one of the other colored ones. The 400 series came in more colors as far as I can tell. I kind of want to get one of the green or blue ones, but they're really hard to find, and they go for a lot more than I paid for this. I think I ended up paying about $30 for this, which for a 1 gigabyte player really isn't worth it in terms of if you want to get the most out of dollar per capacity. But in terms of aesthetics and kind of the joy that you get from using something like this, I would say it's worth it, especially since I didn't have to pay out of my own pocket. Anyway, so this is enough rambling, so we're going to do a teardown right now. As far as I can tell, barely anyone has detailed teardown information or anything on these players online. I found one video from some guy on YouTube. I'm subbed to his channel because he does a lot of teardowns of these, and his is more like a picture slideshow, so it doesn't actually show you a real-time teardown. But we're going to go through, I guess this is like the world's first on YouTube live teardown of this player, so let's get right into it. Okay, so let's get right into the teardown. So what I'm going to do, though, is put on some rubber gloves because this nice, shiny, clean screen, if you get fingerprints on it, I know that'll drive me nuts, and I'd rather not. So, just some latex gloves. Put those on. And through the magic of editing, I have a glove on. These gloves are really small. Oh my goodness, I did not realize how small they were. I have really small hands, and these are tight, like cut off circulation tight. Anyway, so I'm just gonna use my right hand to touch it, and my left hand, I can't be bothered to put on another glove. Oh my goodness. So anyway, let's pop this guy open. So in the USB flap here, there are 2 screws, and it's a fairly small Phillips. So all we have to do is take those out, and they're kind of put in at an angle. Make sure that we do not lose these guys because they're pretty small. Set them aside. Oh yeah, and before you start fiddling around with this, probably best to put this into hold. Okay. So now with both of them out, we can kind of grasp and start lifting. So if you can get a fingernail under here, that'll probably be for the best. Okay, yeah, it is on hold. So what we are doing is pulling off the outer polycarbonate sleeve. And you can kind of pull it this way while lifting, and there's a little lip that goes underneath this metal or plastic silver part. And so you can just get it just under that to pull it off. And you can see here, it's just a clear polycarbonate layer, essentially. So if you had multiple ones of these players, with different color plastic lenses. You could swap them out if you wanted to between the models. They're all compatible. Next, we're going to pull out this silvered part here, which is very thin, actually. I'm surprised. And that is similar. You can just kind of slide it towards the right-hand side and pull it out. And wow, yeah, this is really thin. It's really nothing to it at all. I thought it'd be a little bit thicker, but I guess the thickness of this is very thick, actually, so it sort of makes up for it. I'm going to put that in here to keep dust out of it. And we have two of these silver buttons here, and those are molded with little plastic flanges onto the side there. Just for fun, I want to see turning this on, see the screen without anything on there. So yeah, you can see it's kind of like a whitish green OLED screen. And let's just keep that on, and you can see that right there. So yeah, pretty cool all in all. So let's see if we can get a little bit deeper in here. So there's sort of like a black pieces of tape all around the screen. Hopefully we won't need to pull those out, but I think we do to get deeper into this. Here actually. So anyway, this bit, if you lift up just slightly, you can actually pull this out, and they're just little divots in the plastic that keep that in there. We can set that aside. I'd rather not rip apart all this tape just to get into there, but it looks like if I pull off this front piece here, that's where the connector for the battery is. So maybe if I very carefully, you really don't want to use metal. So yeah, if you're going to use metal tweezers, make sure you're not anywhere near kind of the top or the bottom of the board, just on the side here. And we can start peeling. And all we want to do is separate. There we go. The plastic there. And there we go. So we only had to peel off half of it, and then we gain access to the battery connector. Now, if we're very ginger, we can sort of move these wires out of the way. Looks like they're actually captive in the plastic, so very carefully take something. You know what? I'm going to use a toothpick. Something non-conductive, just to get underneath the wires so that you can pull them out of the plastic shroud. They're sort of held in place there loosely. There we go. So now that we got that out, we should be able to just very gently give this a tug, and the battery connector comes right out. And now, if you try turning it on, it does nothing, obviously, because we just disconnected the battery. So we should be able to lift this out, and what we're going to do is lift it up slightly on this end and pull it out. The headphone jack should slide out. Hopefully there are no screws. We might actually need to lift. Some of this tape looks like it's connecting to the battery. Yep. So, okay, we're going to need to lift this tape portion here. I'm not so worried now because the battery's disconnected, so nothing should be able to short. Just don't puncture anything, obviously. So we're just going to go around the side here and lift this plastic to separate it from the bottom silver part. And then, okay, we can already kind of get in there and see, there, you can see a chip right in there and some other support circuitry. And on this side, you can see all the controls go to a flat flex cable, which is soldered to the board. That's right in there. And you can see this green and silver thing right in there is actually the battery. So if you wanted to replace this, you'd have to slide it out and gain access to the battery that way. Don't really know if I want to actually pull this all out because it's going to be a bear to get it back in. I can already see it's tilting outwards. I can already kind of flex the board there. Yeah, and the entire thing, okay. yeah, the entire thing is loosey-goosey now. There might be some more adhesive. Ah! Son of a... So I ripped the cable going to here. Darn it. And so my controls are no longer going to work, that means. What was that too? Was that... Hopefully that was just a grounding sort of thing. Okay, good, good. Okay, that scared me for a second. So this isn't the ribbon cable for the controls. It's just a grounding strip. So I should be able to just sort of tack that on in the end, and it should be fine. Whew, that scared me, yeah, because all the buttons are actually micro switches on the top of the board right here. And yeah, you can see that the headphone jack just extends that way, and then the volume buttons are on the side, either side there. And we have our play pause, and this little momentary switch is for the hold. I'm guessing that detects the position of the slider. So yeah, we have our USB port, our flash memory chip, some probably RAM, and then this is the main processor here. And it's a Sony chip. It's marked, I can't really read it because there's a whole bunch of gunk on it, but yeah, other than that, everything is in there. If you want to replace the battery is a 3.7 volt, 330 milliamp hour cell. And there's probably just some light adhesive there that you'd have to sort of carefully lever off, and then you can get yourself in there. So we are going to stick this back on, and hopefully there's no problems with that. We're going to reassemble, and then hopefully it works. Hopefully this grounding tab isn't strictly necessary. I don't think it should be, but it's a little nerve-wracking. So we want to be careful, that little micro switch, that we don't break anything there, and just insert it until the headphone jack is flush. Okay, now we're going to lift up. Little tape here. Stick that back down. Stick the tape down on the sides, and lift this guy back up so that we can reinsert the battery. We want to make sure the battery is clear. And I guess reroute the cable into the slot in the plastic before we actually plug it back in. Toothpick will help with this. So there's the black wire. See, this is why I take stuff apart, so I know how to fix it if anything goes wrong, and also so that you guys don't have to. This is a bit of a bugger getting in there. Okay, it's in there. So we're just going to reinsert the battery wires. And there we go. We're getting something that says data access. There we go, and it just loaded right back up. So we're going to pull it out. Hold switch works. The play, pause, stop works. We can go into that. We can do that. If we press and hold this, we can go into FM. And okay, yeah. So everything works. So let's just reassemble everything, making sure the tape's in there. And we're going to reinsert this battery flap first, or the charging port flap, and pretty much just go in reverse. Okay. Are you going to time out? I wonder if pulling the battery resets all the settings. No, that seems to be fine. Hopefully it times out. Oh, sorry about the focus there. Okay, good. So yeah, I just was a little worried because the screen wasn't turning off. So yeah, that little strip was just grounding. Probably not all that necessary, probably just a precaution. So hopefully that didn't ruin anything, me breaking it. It wouldn't be the end of the world, me just tacking a wire on there if that is a problem. But yeah, you want to be careful when taking apart that could have ended much worse. So we want to push this into the case and then follow up with the outer polycarbonate plastic, making sure to get the buttons aligned and to get this underneath the silver part. And we can just push this in like this. Now we want to get the 2 screws and screw them back in. And don't over tighten because these go into plastic. Just snug. And if it has trouble with alignment, just wiggle it lightly and you should be good. Yeah. And then we can close that flap. Okay, there we go. So display comes on. We can just go through this. Everything works. Volume. Go through. Hold. And everything's all good. So yeah, that little tab there, you want to be careful. That scared the heck out of me when I saw that ripped, because if that were the control cable, that would be an absolute nightmare to repatch, because it's a flat flex cable, and these units are pretty expensive, so it's not likely that I'd be able to get another one for cheap. And I'd have to solder like 30 gauge counter wire onto the flat flex cable where it broke off, and then find points on the board that I can solder. That would be an absolute nightmare. I would cry if that were what happened. But luckily, everything looks like it still works, which is pretty good. So yeah, here's just a close-up of the screen and everything. There we go. Battery's kind of getting down there. I haven't charged this in quite a while, and I've been listening to this for a little bit. And this is a used unit, so the battery's probably not so great condition. This came out, what, like 05, 06, something like that. So the battery's more than 10 years old. But yeah, definitely listened to this more than probably about 15, 20 hours so far, and it says there's still capacity left. So not too bad overall. Anyway, hopefully you guys like this teardown. As far as I could see on YouTube, there's only one other guy who did a teardown, and he just took pictures and the text was in Japanese and whatnot, and there wasn't really any description. So this is sort of a more comprehensive teardown. As far as I can see, no one else has really done a teardown of this device. So this is sort of my contribution to anyone who wants to repair one of these devices. It would be interesting to know if the 1 GB firmware limit, if it's a firmware limit, or if you were to tack on a larger flash memory chip, if it could support it. That would be fascinating to know. If you could upgrade this to like 2 or 4 gigabytes, that would be tremendous. That would actually make this usable a lot more than, you know, just being limited to 1 GB max. But anyway, hopefully you guys liked my review / ramble / teardown, and I will see you guys later. Bye.